Louder!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to Lights, Camera, Exploitation, your guide to exploitive cinema. This is the pod boss, TJ Bowser, and joining me as always is my doppelganger, Kangabanger from down under, Mr. Brody Kane.
Howdy doody there, gentlemen.
And the slickest of all the Nicks, Mr. Slick Nick.
How you doing?
Today, we have a doozy of an episode, but first, it's time for your slice of life. Brody, how goes it?
Well, like I say every motherfucking goddamn week, Mr. Bowser, it all goes well down in my neck of the woods. What did I get up to this week? I went and saw the new Morbius film. I went in with low expectations, obviously because of the ratings, but at the end of the day, fuck the critics because I'm my own critic.
That's right.
And I wasn't let down at all. I mean, look, it obviously could have been better, could have been improved a lot more in the storytelling and all that sort of shit, and I could go on about it. But look, the first half was actually fine. I enjoyed it. It felt like a horror film to an extent. I mean, look, if you just want to have a chilled out night watching a fun film, just go and suss out Morbius or just wait till it comes on a VOD. It's totally up to fucking you. Other than that, Vinegar Syndrome come through with the goods this week, and I got Dario Argento's Trauma. Yes, I knew you'd like that one. And I'll tell you what, it was actually pretty interesting. Look, that was another film I went in with low expectations because it was something different for Argento, obviously, at the time, coming in as his first US directorial debut, you could say. Yeah. And look, I could find obviously the positives and negatives about that film, to which we will talk about in a future episode. Me and Mr. Bowser have talked about this. But I will say that I actually fucking enjoyed it, and I am still, like, after watching it all this week, I've just been thinking about it, like this scene, that scene, you know. So it's definitely
how cool is the weapon in that movie?
It's pretty fucking nice. It is completely random, I will admit. And I will say, without really spoiling anything, the kid is like the monkey from...
Yes.
Just, he's there for that reason, so... But other than that, not much else happening with me. What about you, Mr. Slick Nick?
Not a ton. Had some pretty big changes at work at my day job this week, so I have been really, really busy dealing with a lot of that. Fellow host of Beetle Bros, Ryan's birthday was this week, so we had a little get-together for him down at Aaron's, so we went and did that the other day. Wednesday night. It was fun. Could see a bunch of people out. Still had to wake up, go back to work the next morning. That was super fun. But not a whole lot. Mostly dealing with some pretty big changes at work. What have you been up to, TJ? What'd you do this week?
Well, made some pretty big progress on the comic book this week. Brody and I are working on some other projects here on the side. I was checking out the new Vinegar Syndrome movies that were just announced this month. Super excited to pick some of those up. One of them is Flesh Eater, Revenge of the Living Dead, and of course, local films. So I'm super excited to add that to the collection very soon. But yeah, just doing podcast stuff, watching movies, watched a fuck ton of Rutger Hauer movies leading up to this week's episode. I don't know why, but Brody kind of definitely facilitated that type of atmosphere and mindset. So thank you. He just kept feeding me film and that recommended list also. Yeah, it got messy. Anyway, I watched this week's film and oh boy, I can't wait to talk about it. And this week's film is 2011's Hobo with a Shotgun.
I don't think I've seen you around here before. Let me guess. You rode in on the rail.
That's right.
Did anybody officially welcome you to town yet?
They never do.
Well, welcome to Funtown!
Anti-crime groups have been springing up throughout the city, and their inspiration is this unidentified homeless man who's been delivering justice.
This is a goddamn
fucking robbery! I'm gonna sleep in your bloody carcasses tonight! Keep the change.
I want that hobo's head on my wall.
Jerk off this shit liquor!
Or crucify him to a homeless shelter.
Put the knife away, kid, or I'll use it to cut welfare checks from your rotten skin. Hallelujah.
You and me are going on a car ride to hell. You're ready, shotgun.
You can't solve all the world's problems with a shotgun.
It's all I know.
And that is directed by Jason Eisener, who also did The Teeth Beneath in 2005, The ABCs of Death in 2012, the segment Y is for Young Buck, and another one of my favorites, The Dark Side of the Ring TV series from 2019 till modern day. Check it out on Vice TV. Writers, John Davies. Cinematographer, Kareem Hussein, who also did Ascension in 2002, Mohawk in 2017, and Possessor in 2020. Production design, Ewan Dixon, who also did One Hit Wonder in 2005, Summerhood in 2008, and Your Money or Your Wife in 2015. Costume design, Sarah Dunsworth. You may know her as Sarah from the Trailer Park Boys, who also worked on Moving Day in 2012, Relative Happiness in 2014, and Trailer Park Boys, Drunk High and Unemployed in 2015. Set decorator, Greg Baller, who worked on Trailer Park Boys the movie in 2006 and Murmur in 2019. Producers, Rob Cotterill, Neve Thickman, and Paul Gross. Special effects, Dylan Harris McDonald, who also did Outlander in 2008, Lizzie Borden took an axe in 2017, and Polaroid in 2019. Budget $3 million USD, according to Slick Nick, starring Rutger Hauer as the Hobo, who starred in Blade Runner in 1982. 1986 is The Hitcher, one of Brody's favorite films of all time, and split second in 1992, more like Venom. Pasha Ebrahimi as Bumfight filmmaker, who starred in Charlie Zone in 2011, The Good Doctor in 2018, and The Haunting of Bly Manor in 2020. Rob Wells as Logan. You may know him as Ricky from the Trailer Park Boys from 2001 and 2018. Would You Rather in 2012, and Swearing It Live in 2014. Brian Downey as Drake, who starred in Lex in 1996 and 2002. That's like a running theme, is to have people who worked on that show in this season. Snow Angels in 2007, and The Healer in 2016. Gregory Smith as Slick, not as slick as our Nick, who also starred in Small Soldiers in 1998, The Patriot in 2000, and Everwood from 2002 to 2006. I completely forgot that that's Alan Abernath from Small Soldiers.
Holy shit, you're right. So did I.
That's the lead.
I didn't recognize him at all.
Yeah, man. I always wondered what happened to him. He went to Everwood and disappeared. Nate Bateman as Ivan/Rip, who starred in Hidden in the Woods in 2014, A Wedding Wonderland in 2017, and The Perception in 2018. Drew O'Hara as Otis, who starred in Whole New Thang in 2005, Sticks and Stones in 2008, a TV movie, Fucking My Way Back Home in 2018. Oh yeah, baby. And last, but certainly not leastly, our final girl, Molly Dunsworth as Abby, who starred in Deeply in 2000, Septic Man in 2013, Connor, I'm looking at you, and Digstown in 2019.
And whom is also Jim Leahy's daughter.
Yes. Rest in peace.
Yes.
Nick.
A vigilante homeless man pulls into a new city and finds himself trapped in urban chaos. A city where crime rules and where the city's crime boss reigns. Seeing an urban landscape filled with armed robbers, corrupt cops, abused prostitutes, and even a pedophile Santa, the Hobo, Rutger Hauer, goes about bringing justice to the city the best way he knows how, with a 20-gauge shotgun. Mayhem ensues when he tries to make things better for the future generation. Will the Hobo's unique form of street justice prevail?
Awards! It won a cuppa! And that included Fright Meter Awards in 2011. Rutger Hauer Best Actor, winner, chicken dinner! Best Screenplay nominee. Punch On International Fantastic Film Festival in 2011. Jason Eisener Best of Punch On nominee. Rondo Hatton Classic Horror Awards 2011. Jason Eisener Best Film nominee. Lastly, South by Southwest Film Festival Audience Award Midnight Feature to Jason Eisener nominee. Boys, let's get physical. This week's release is from Magnolia Pictures, and it was dropped July 5th of 2011, and is rated R. Runs 86 minutes, and it features Shotgun Mode, a behind-the-scenes interactive movie featurette, commentary with Jason Eisener and Rutger Hauer, commentary with Jason Eisener, John Davies, Rob Cottrell, and David Brandt. More blood, more heart. The making of Hobo with a Shotgun, deleted scenes, alternate ending, video blogs, aka vlogs, camera test reel, Fangoria interviews with Rutger Hauer and Jason Eisener, HD net, and a look at Hobo with a Shotgun. Grindhouse trailer contest winner, Hobo with a Shotgun. Hobo with a Shotgun faux trailer contest winner, Van Gore. Red Band US theatrical trailer and the Canadian TV spots. Boys, take it away.
So, speaking of the faux trailer, in the original 2007 trailer, included with Grindhouse, the double feature from Tarantino and was it Robert Rodriguez was the other one?
Yeah.
The titular Hobo is played by actor David Brandt, who was mentioned as part of the commentary as well. Brandt was originally offered the role for the feature film as well to reprise it. However, he did end up rejecting the offer. He said that he believed he could not carry an entire movie on his own. However, he does appear in the film as a dirty cop in the scene where the cops are chasing down looking for any homeless people. He is the one wielding a shotgun.
Oh, I see what they did there.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice indeed. So in an interview with director Jason Eisener, as TJ would say, over at Collider, Jason discusses the idea of Hobo with a Shotgun. He is quoted by saying, "We were hanging out at a pizza joint where me and John would pitch movie ideas back and forth. We were there with my friend Joe, who had really long hair at the time. He was wearing a scruffy shirt and he had just bought this airsoft shotgun that shoots plastic pellets. We were pitching ideas and he spoke up and said, 'Why don't you make a movie about me?' John just looked at him up and down and said, 'What, a hobo with a shotgun?' It was like a light bulb went off and we were like, oh, that sounds so cool. What could that movie be about?" We started pitching ideas and then and coming up with little ideas regarding who the character was and what the journey would be.
Fuck yeah.
Hell yeah. In a separate interview with IndieWire, Jason explains how he came to discover horror cinema as a kid and what ultimately began his path towards directing them. Says, "The very first time I saw a horror movie was the original King Kong with my grandfather, and I was terrified watching that film. That experience is what inspired me to watch more horror films. But growing up, I wasn't allowed to watch that genre. The only way that I was able to was to go to my best friend's house. When I got to the age where it was totally cool to watch anything, I blew up on that stuff, and I watched as many as I could."
So we have Mr. Eisner talking about winning the Grindhouse trailer competition / turning it into a feature fucking film. When we put the trailer online, the view count started racking up and we thought, wow, there's a lot of attention on this. And there were a lot of people telling us that they'd love to see a feature film. So we decided to try and make a feature film with friends and spent a long time doing that on the weekends for no money. Then we went to the Grindhouse premiere in LA and I got a call from the Canadian film production and distribution company, Alliance, saying that they wanted to release our trailer with the Canadian release, Grindhouse, theatrically. They were going to strike a bunch of film prints of it, and then they also wanted us to come to Toronto to talk about the idea and developing it into a feature film. So they took us to Toronto and we met producer Niv Feichman from Rhombus Media, and we just really hit it off. He basically sent us straight home to get the treatment done. We sent it off, and within a week or two, he told us to give him a script.
So he goes on to describe financing the script as well. He says there were people and financiers who were on board from the very beginning and totally support it, but it definitely took some convincing. For instance, when we started developing the idea as a feature, people didn't really see what we had in mind and how we were going to handle the violence. Because when you read the script, to some people, it can sound really mean-spirited and very overwhelmingly insane. We made a short film in the meantime while writing the feature script called Trevenge. When we showed our financiers that, they saw how we were going to deal with violence. It definitely helped open doors and get people on board with us.
So we have Mr. Eisner talking about shooting the film. Was it the bulk of the film was shot? Okay. Yeah. So we have Mr. Eisner talking about shooting the film. So the bulk of the film was shot using a handheld Red 1MX digital camera. Afterwards, during editing, the shots were processed digitally to appear as if they were shot using color stock film cameras, which resulted in the film's overly saturated, distorted color scheme. In an interview with the KPBS, Eisner speaks about this choice with saying it comes from growing up in the 80s and watching a lot of cartoons. And And back then it was so full on of color and prime colors to help attract a young audience. I just love that. And also genre films. I love Dario Argento movies. They are so full of color. A lot of the 80s action movies like Savage Streets and Vice Squad and potentially Dead End Drive-In and The Warriors. I just love the color palette in those films, and it is always something that attracted my imagination. And so when it came to time, when it came time to shoot Hobo, I wanted to create a surreal graffiti colourful world. And with the effects, I'm definitely a fan of outrageous special effects in the sense that it's almost so crazy that it's absolutely unbelievable.
So, in an interview with Hey You Guys, Jason discusses the color and tone of the film a bit further. Says it was all on set. The DOP, Kareem Hussein, on the movie came to live with us 3 months prior to production. So him, me, and our producer found all the locations before we went into pre-production. And we would go to all the locations every day and figure out where we wanted the lights to go, and what gels we wanted to put on. So when we went into pre-production, I took the script and I cut out little pieces of the gels and I attached them to each scene. So it showed my costume department and my production design team what colors I was going to use for every scene. And I asked them to complement those with costumes and spray paint. Then when we went into post, I just got them to crank up the saturation so it would pop all of those colors and make them more vibrant.
He also goes on to discuss the color palette by saying, although the color palette and film style was digitally, actually, he doesn't say that, does he?
Mm-mm.
No. So although the color palette and film style was digitally processed in post-production, the effects within the movie itself are entirely practical. In the same KPBS interview, Eisner remarks on this, stating, everything is practical. Yeah, I've never seen any gore effects in a film that look real, and every time I see a bad CGI effect, it just completely takes me out of the movie and the story and the characters. There's just something off. But when an effect is done practically, and even if it looks cheap or cheesy, it's still really fun because you know people worked really hard to do it, and there's a heart and soul behind it because it's hard to do those effects. They never happen on the first take. They always take 45 minutes to reset. It's definitely a struggle to make those effects happen, and I think it's kind of special when you see an effect on screen that's done practically. It's better feeling knowing that it was done real rather than on a computer, because CGI just feels fake and there's no heart and soul behind it.
I am inclined for the most part to agree with him.
Agreed!
So, Jason, on using fake blood for the film, he says we had a truck called the Blood Truck. There's a little extra feature about that on YouTube. Shit, I wish I'd seen that. We had a guy named Henry Townsend who is in charge of the blood, and the guy loves blood more than anyone. Every time he came to set, he was completely covered in blood from head to toe. Every time I showed up on set, he would be there covered in blood with 16 to 20 buckets of blood waiting on standby. So I'm not sure how much blood we used throughout the whole thing, but it certainly was a lot.
So we have Mr. Eisner talking about choosing the right actor for the job. When we first wrote the script, I was thinking about the movie on a much smaller scale and trying to be realistic. I was very interested in a Canadian actor by the name of Stephen McHady, who starred in Pontypool. He's one of my favourite actors. He's amazing, and he was in a movie from the 70s called Moving Violation, where he kind of plays a hobo too. So I thought it would be a cool return to form, but Alliance came to us and said, just as an experiment, write down a list of names of your top 5 choices. If you could do this with anybody, who would it be? If I could have anybody, of course, the top of the list was going to be Rutger Hauer. When me and John were growing up and buying those movies from pawn shops, whenever we would see a Rutger Hauer on one of the VHS boxes, we would immediately pick it up. He was the first actor who we loved enough to track down everything he ever made. I never would have thought in my wildest dreams that we would ever have Rutger, but I kind of put it out there as the ultimate dream. I thought it would never happen, but it would give people an idea as to who we were kind of going for, the kind of actor and type of performance we wanted.
Fucking A.
I still would have even been okay with Stephen McHady. I fucking love Pontypool, man. A good movie. So he continues on working with Rutger. He says, when he came to Halifax and he met the cast and crew and he saw how enthusiastic everyone was about the project and how everyone was just giving their heart and soul, he was so inspired. He just jumped into the team. He was more than an actor on the movie. I feel like he was one of the filmmakers. He did so much more than acting. He gave us so much advice, and he kind of took us under his wing. He helped us pull a lot of things off in the film. He had so much experience. So if we would be dealing with a technical problem, he would come up and say, hey guys, don't worry, I've seen this before. Here's what we can do. He was awesome. To work with him on that level was more than just working with an actor. It was like working with an amazing filmmaker too.
In an interview over at the Horror Channel, Rutger Hauer elaborates on the film's reception. He goes on to say, "I'm pleasantly shocked at how well this film's been received, because I really didn't see that coming. I knew that there was quite a following, but the fact that part of the movie establishment also came on board and was so friendly, rather than being upset and pissed off, is great. I guess the film is very clear about what it promises to tell you. You know, not since the first test screening of The Hitcher in 1985 have I seen, quote, one of my movies get such a great audience reaction as Hobo has. It's the only time that I've experienced watching a film with the audience where they know exactly what it is and what you're doing, and they know how to appreciate it. It was lovely."
In an additional interview that Rutger did with The Guardian, he speaks about his experience with the film, because they did actually kind of ask him if he just appeared in it for a paycheck, which he responded with, "No. I do roughly 1/3 of my work for the money, and 2/3 is either experiments or people like Jason who have an idea I can't resist." I read through the script for Hobo, and at first I didn't know if I was reading it right. I thought the story was very noisy and very flat. So we got on Skype together and we connected. I said, "I thought there were a couple things missing." And he said, "I know. And that's why I'm asking you to do it. There's no better answer."
Touché. So we have Rutger having an input into his character on set. So he goes on to say, "Jason had a very specific idea about the character because the whole story was based on Dave Brunt, who was a real person walking around in Halifax with his own story. He was the inspiration. So Jason wanted me to hang on to that. So my task was to see if I could bring the real character into my movie character. So I studied Dave. He was there on set most of the time, and he was very supportive of me playing him. He was very proud that I was pretending to be him. He's a damaged person, basically, because he was disabled when a truck drove into him. He settled for a couple of $1,000 or something, but a big part of his life was ruined, so he became somewhat of an outcast, I would think. But he's also a very pure character who loves nature and knows all about any wild animal you can think of."
Rutger goes on to discuss the film's over-the-top nature. Says, "Jason felt that I shouldn't play it for jokes, that it should be deadly serious and try and deal with the simplicity of his, the Hobo's, own mind, his sense of pride and honor and purpose. My task was to be deadly serious, because Dave is also very serious about this stuff. You can't fool around with honor and pride and sensibility. Every scene became such an over-the-top soap opera that it was a pure joy to see how everything developed into such ridiculous, crazy stuff. But of course, it was my job to stay in character. Naturally, though, after Jason said, 'cut,' you would piss yourself because of all that had happened during the scene. It's hard, sure, but I had a lot of fun shooting this movie because it was so wild, Socrative, and everyone involved has a love for making movies."
So lastly, but not least, in the previously mentioned Hey You Guys interview, we have Mr. Eisner talking about a blind kid on set. It's actually pretty interesting.
I love this.
He goes on to say, you know that scene where they get the character Logan and then they put him in the manhole cover and they cut his head off? Well, there's a background performer that day. His name was Noah, and he'd never had his vision his whole life. He'd never seen anything in his whole life, and he's 23 years old, I think. And he wanted to come to the shoot, and we thought that was great. So he came out and he had corrective surgery done to his eyes 2 weeks before we were shooting, and during the moment we were cutting the head off Logan, the blood starts coming out and this girl starts dancing in the blood. He's standing there and his vision comes back. So the very first thing he sees of the world is this hot chick dancing in blood, and my AD overheard him say, "Wow, red is so beautiful." I couldn't believe it. It was so amazing. If you see the movie again, he's in the audience and he has crutches. And this is kind of a blank stare. He was kind of blown away. Just imagine that being your first vision of the world.
I'm so glad you found the interview where he mentions that, because I saw that listed as like a tidbit about it, but no source. And I was like, fuck, I don't know if I can put that without a source.
Well, boys, let's talk about it! Okay, favorite performance of the film. Slick Nick, start us off.
I have the feeling that this might be another one of those episodes where the three of us pick the same person. Because I don't think anyone is going to find it very surprising when I say that my favorite performance was Rutger Hauer. I really, really like just how straight he plays the hobo. I mean, like, I absolutely understand why he said whenever, he was looking for the direction on it, Jason was like, the movie's over the top enough already. You play your character straight. You play your character like a real person, more or less, who is trapped in this like dystopian hellhole of a crime-ridden city, and just remain true to that. Because it makes it more believable when he has those like weird conversations with Abby, like his monologue about how a bear will rip your face off and you will die, as he's like trying to go to sleep while she's like comforting him. Because it just like, it feels earnest, but it's like, what the fuck is this story? It I don't know. It makes his character something else, to where it's like he still fits in the world while being just enough apart from it that you can believe his like disgust at everything when everyone else has just kind of accepted it as their reality. Am I missing something here? Are we...
TJ starting shit.
So I will start that off, and I will hit it. So does anyone else have a different one, or would anyone else like to talk about Rutger Hauer next?
What's not to say about fucking Rutger Hauer, especially in this movie? Clearly further along in his career at this point, but still premium quality talent, apparently. This guy delivers a performance of a lifetime, and it is just absolutely mind-boggling in some scenes, just the lengths that he will go. And he is believable 100% of the time, and I love it. I do have to say that, like Nick said, the way that the character's written, the way that the character's portrayed, it's weird. It's strange. But you're definitely rooting for him.
Oh, yeah.
And then... You can't solve all the world's problems with a shotgun, but it's the only way I know how.
I love it. The camp is just dialed to 11. I love it.
I do love the way that Rob Wells talks. I think maybe that's because I love Trailer Park Boys so much.
Oh, yeah.
But just anytime he gets pissed off and goes on one of his rants, I think it's just too fucking funny. Oh.
It does feel like Ricky has been plucked out of Trailer Park Boys and then dropped into this.
Dropped into a manhole.
Kill me. Yeah, just right into it. Don't fucking run away, get these goddamn handcuffs off me. I'm like, man, it's Ricky. It's just Ricky running around.
So he felt like a Danny McBride relief to me.
He's Canadian. He's Canada's Danny McBride, essentially.
He is Canada's Danny McBride.
Mad McBride vibes. Absolutely.
It's not a bad thing.
I will have to say that Mandy Dunsworth, is that her name? Mandy Dunsworth?
Molly Dunsworth.
I will have to say that Molly Dunsworth, our final girl, is absolutely wonderful in this, and she's so badass, and it's very rare these days that you really feel like you're behind one of these final girls, and I definitely feel behind her by the end of this film. So, definitely special nod and mention to Dunsworth. Brody, take it away.
Look, yeah, I'm going to have to agree with yous and say Mr. Rutger himself. Look, it's not a performance I would rave on about for days like his previous work, but, I still think it was a fucking amazing choice to have him play this hobo. Like you said, he's just this uniquely weird fucking hobo that looks at the world differently and to an extent. And what I love watching throughout each of his scenes is this uncanny facial expression he does. He really forces himself into his dialogue where he grits his teeth, and it's just over the top dialogue. It's just fucking fun to see, especially when the film doesn't take itself too fucking serious. Look, he's just one badass motherfucker, popping heads with that and exploding dicks off with a shotgun. I mean, how could you not fucking like it? It's just,
man.
Yeah, it's great to see him come out and not take himself too serious with a film like this at his age at the time. So, yeah, no, Mr. Rutger himself.
Now, I'm going to go wash this guy's asshole off me.
He finishes his monologue from the end of Blade Runner, and someone just comes back in time and just goes, that was absolutely incredible. You're going to wash somebody's asshole off your face in 30 years. And you're going to love doing that movie, too, is the thing.
Were you gonna elaborate?
I was going to say at least one thing. You mentioned Molly Dunsworth's character. I didn't put this in the notes just because it was just a tiny little tidbit of info. But there is an alternate extended ending. Do you know how? So she gets her hand cut off with the lawnmower. And how whenever he was holding her back, the plague member walked up and was like, "She killed Grinder. Now she must take his place in the plague." There is an alternate ending where she takes his place in the plague and gets that hand replaced with a Gatling shotgun.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Would you cut that out of this fucking film?
I have
honestly?
no idea, but that feels like such a nod to it coming out of Grindhouse with the fucking machine gun legs and like death. Like, yeah, I was like, dude, why?
What if that's why they didn't do it?
Maybe like it felt like too on the nose, I guess. But still, man,
you should have left that in
so
there.
fucking awesome. The movie already, like, it's no Blade Runner. I mean, the movie knows exactly what it. I say they should have gone for it, man. I don't know.
I was hoping she was going to use that fucking bone hanging out of her arm to stab old mate to death with it.
She did.
She did.
Did she?
Yeah.
The Drake? Yeah, she stabs the shit out of him.
That's why that guy was bleeding and crawling away at the end, because after she turned around and stabbed him with her armed sword.
My wish come true then. Fuck, how did I miss that?
Yeah, that's why he has to turn him over and finish him off at the end. Favorite set piece. Favorite set piece, boys. Her apartment's pretty gross, but I do have to say, like, that main bad guy compound is just wacky.
Yeah, the like arcade.
Yeah, like
essentially.
I like that one flashback scene where you flash back to him and there's just like those crowd of naked girls beating this dude like a piñata, and then he just pulls out of this razor blade bat and like guts this dude.
When life gives you razor blades, make a razor blade baseball. Like, this movie doesn't fucking care.
This city is gross.
Oh yeah, it is grimy. I do really like the Drake's compound, but I think I might have to go with the Plague's compound. The Plague's like dungeon, hostel, torture chamber that they had him in.
Was Jesus one of their hits?
I think.
Oh, speaking of that, did you notice the Last Supper?
Yes. I like just all the weird shit down there. Like, he's asking the one plague member for. I like how those guys have no loyalties to anyone.
No.
Okay. Hey, you got a match? And they're like, yeah, sure. they're like, we don't care. Like, we're not gonna mistreat him while he's here. We're just turning him over to that fucking Drake dude. But like, I love it. He's got all that going on. The one plague member's in the back fighting the fucking Kraken off, trying to shove it into the goddamn closet in the back with all the sound effects going, and the tentacles just flying out everywhere. Like, it's so ridiculous and just so grimy and just so weird. And like, yeah, it just, how the set design, I think, just works so well for this movie, and particularly, the two main villain compounds, especially.
Brody, favorite set piece?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Nick's choice on the plague. The whatever you want to fucking call it, hangout. I don't know.
Dude,
like
the weird
dungeon.
octopus layer off to the side.
They're the one dude trying to shove the fucking Kraken back in.
Yeah, that was pretty fucking outrageous, but I liked it. Yeah, I mean, I love that shot. How I mean, it's cheaply done and it looks a bit poop town, but just the whole idea and premise of it being guarded by a graveyard, I thought that looked pretty cool. The silhouettes of the stones and that. Yeah. The chains to the door, that run through the gargoyles. Fucking mouth was a nice touch. I love it. Gothic. Even that, like, all their weapons station along that wall just looked medieval as fuck. Yeah, I don't know. Look, to me, the lighting of that whole scene definitely helps make it. You got the fucking bright reds, pinks, purples. They just really work extremely well for that scene and sets the mood of the tone pretty damn well. Yeah.
I definitely like that he knew what he wanted. Like how he was talking about, he put the gel colors next to each scene and it was like, these are the colors. This is the palette for the scene.
And I guess
build it around that.
Kind of where we would touch on it anyway. I love the weird color saturation in this.
Yes.
It helps so much. And we talk about that a lot on this show, colors and stuff. And I think in this film, the weird stuff and the weird choices definitely aid to the grittiness of the film. And like Eisner said, it comes from Argento. Tarantino. And I can totally see that. Like, look at the first... Actually, no. Look at Suspiria.
I was about to say, yeah.
And look at the intense color wave there, and then, like, look at this. Like, just the opening sequence of this alone just shows you the dynamics of the colors here.
It works very, very well. I really do just think overall it went very well. And I think it was also a bit that he picked up from 2. Damn it. Hold on. For some reason, my
sensitivity
wasn't picking. Yeah, it wasn't picking me up. And it could also be something that he picked up a little bit from Tarantino as well. Because he did talk to him a lot. After winning the thing with Grindhouse, he said that he met Tarantino at something. I think it was the premiere for Inglourious Bastards, because that came out right before this. They were already working on it, and he told him, he was like, hey, that trailer that I made that played with your movie and stuff at Grindhouse, we're making that into a real actual movie. And he said that Tarantino got like really hyped for him and started like giving him like pointers as well on how to do like the editing and stylization of it.
Fucking A. For shot, I really love when that crooked cop gets his head blown off, and then Rucker just keeps laying slugs at him, and that girl, the way the girl reacts, and then the blood splatter, and then mentioning the saturation, the fact that really makes the blood more Jallo-ish, cartoony, reddish, so whenever it splatters up on her, it just looks fantastic. It just, that whole sequence and that shot, just really cool, and it really sets the intensity for like the rest of the film. It's like he's out for blood, and he's gonna stop at nothing until, like, literally that guy's just pieces and cut in half by the time he's done. He blows his asshole out. Brody,
just a pile of meat.
Nick, shots.
Well, I love the whole scene where the hobo blows Slick's cock clean right off his fucking pelvis, and then to follow up, having the school bus of burnt children's souls come to collect his for all fucking eternity. I thought that was really fun how they did that. Mm-hmm. Just the fact that he brutally burnt those kids to death prior to this scene, and just for it to come full circle and have him screaming on the back of the bus at the window, I thought it just felt justified in a very fucking pleasing way. I mean, that whole bus scene was fucking brutal. Flamethrower. Yeah. That was my favorite shot. That whole entire scene was done extremely well. I like that. What about you, Slick Nick?
I couldn't help but laugh at it. They're doing the flamethrower. He's burning the kids. He's got the boombox on his shoulder. And his big dumb smile and the fucking sunglasses. Fucking shit-eating grin.
Skarsgård is Eric Draven.
Oh, bullshit.
Nope. It is official as of today. Rupert Sanders will be directing the Crow reboot with Skarsgård to star.
Oh, fuck. I never thought I'd fucking say that I'm keen for the fucking Crow.
They picked Skarsgård over Momoa.
Good.
Yes.
Fucking good.
Yes. I like Jason Momoa. Why the hell would they pick Jason Momoa to be the Crow?
Now, he could be Duncan Idaho the rest of his life.
I would just love this not to be a remake and just be its own Crow spin-off.
Just give me a revenge tale.
Yeah, just give me that. Don't follow the exact same story.
Kill his missus and have him come back.
Yeah, don't give me T-Bird. Give me new characters. I want these new characters to come in and fucking... Oh, fuck, I'm actually pumped now.
Yeah, I guess.
Perfect casting choice. Perfect casting.
Hell yeah. No, that's a good idea.
God damn it, I'm happy now.
We walking around all bubbly today and shit.
Anything else you want to expand on that, Nick?
So I think probably my favorite scene, just because of like the quietness in contrast to the rest of this film, it's probably when he's standing there when the hobo is standing there in the maternity ward of the hospital, looking at all the newborn babies, and he's delivering this. God damn it! Is it doing it again? He's standing there in like the maternity ward of the hospital as the plague is coming looking for him, and he's like delivering this monologue to a bunch of newborn babies, like explaining to them why they should leave the city, because if they grow up in the city, they're just all going to end up becoming like burnouts and junkies and murder victims and everything. But yeah, no, like for at least just scene wise, those one, that and the what I mentioned earlier, the story about the bear, those are probably some of my favorite standout moments, just because it's like a brief respite, you think, from the weirdness of the movie, because there's no violence, and then he just goes off the rails, just delivering these monologues.
The weird bear analogy was cool to break up the film, and the fact that they spend the time to tie it up at the end was a nice little touch.
I did like that, I want to talk about bears.
Bears aren't supposed to be in zoos. Boys, This was a film with all practical effects, like we said earlier, and it was absolutely jam-packed with some incredible deaths. So this next question is going to be very difficult to answer. Favorite effect and death. I love all the decapitations via shotgun. I think a head explosion is one of the best things to see on film, but I have to go with, again, corrupt cop getting his head blown off
absolutely
and then blown in half is just so cool.
Misted.
He's such a scumbag. Of course, he does have some funny dialogue. Like,
what do you see? Oh, man, fuck tube.
I love the smell of your asshole.
I can't, I really want to know, did they write that? Or did he go, what's my line? He's like, I don't know, man, say whatever the fuck you want.
You ever just want to cut your dick off and just smack it off her titties?
Oh my god, or just Slick and Ivan, let's fuck! Oh, I love the dialogue in this movie so much. I just do.
Death effect.
I think an individual effect, I'm going to have to go with Abby getting her hand mulched by the lawnmower.
Brutal.
Oh, that one.
What about her getting her head cut? Her head sawed.
Her neck getting slashed, man. And he's doing the whole back and forth of him, and the other that's happening. Man, get in there! She's getting her head cut off. It just feels so bad for her. She doesn't have a scar or anything, though. I noticed, like afterwards, after the hospital
the duct
trip.
tape, man. It saved it.
Yeah, everyone knows that if you duct tape it fast enough, it will not leave any permanent visibility. But I think for death, just because I don't think I've ever seen one quite like it, I might have to go with the Plague members delivering the harpoon gun nooses to the orderlies in the hospital, and then shooting harpoons into the ceiling to hang them. Like
perfect teamwork.
That shit, yeah. That shit was just wacky as fuck. Like,
it was badass.
Oh yeah, but yeah, those are probably what I'm gonna have to go with. Brody, what is yours?
Right. Well, I'll agree with Mr. Bowser on favourite effect. How the cop's head exploding. Fucking Rucker just puts that cunt straight through the mincer. There is nothing left of him.
And then how he like explodes out of the shopping cart. Just, and then we get that one shot of the dude standing there, and he just sees him explode out of the corpse and then fall out. And he's like, I'm gonna call you back.
Yeah. What the fuck? It freaks Abby out so much too. She's like, why would you do that? And he's like, come on, home.
Like, I feel that scene was actually filmed quite well. And seeing Abby scream with brain matter all over, it looked actually fucking horrifying. Really she can scream. She can fucking scream. She's got a set of pipes on her. I'll give her that. My favorite death. Mr. Bowser, what do you reckon my favorite death is?
Oh, I don't know.
Well,
let me know.
It is Santa Claus, the child molester. And what you might ask?
Rock Spider.
A rock spider.
I completely forgot about fucking Santa Claus up until this point that he got shot in the face. Yeah, fucking A. Yeah, totally deserved
so good.
Oh, fuck that.
Anytime a pedophile just gets blasted.
Yeah.
Well, he deserves torture more than anything, but to see him getting what he deserves.
Eisner knows how to edit. You know, we have to give him credit because the way that subplot of the pedophile Santa is edited, the fact that we see it briefly earlier in the film, and then he edits in this death that's just while he's on that montage of murdering people. It's just this quick cut of him walking over to the Santa Claus and blowing his face off and walking away. It's just so cool. Jason Eisener, you're awesome.
Oh yeah, I will give a little bit of a little additional nod to him killing the pimp.
Yes.
So he leans in for the kiss, and the prostitute, and he's like, "You go find someone who loves you, and you're fucked."
I'd have to say that entire montage sequence where he's killing people is really well edited and really well done.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's a very well pieced together movie. Yeah. Like it was made with some TLC for sure.
Do you know what I love about Rutger's character in this though? Is the fact that before he kills someone, he goes, "Tell him I'm coming for him," and then he kills him. How the fuck are they meant to tell him?
Message to you and your grave robber friends, and then he just kills him anyway.
Yeah, but No, yeah, they're for me. Yeah, fuck that rock spider in the end.
Or could he be killing them, and by killing them, therefore he's sending a message? So he is telling them.
Yes, that's probably the only way you could agree.
That is a bit from The Sopranos too. That is a bit, yeah, Paulie. Yeah. Your friends, stay the hell out of South Jersey. I'll tell them. They already have been told twice. Now I'll tell them. And he shoots the dude in the face.
I think that's just a crime thing. Thoughts on story?
What else can you say, man? I mean, like I said earlier, this movie knows exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's off its fucking head.
Yeah. It is, hey, do you remember grindhouse, over-the-top, viscerally gory exploitation films from the 70s and 80s? Do you want one that just really wants to be that and will fucking go for it and stop at nothing to achieve it? Here you go. This movie is a cult movie through and through.
You're getting into the next territory. Hold on.
Yeah, it's hard not to get into it, man.
Talk about the story.
All right. But yeah, I mean, it comes across initially like it's going to play out like a revenge porn film.
Yes.
He gets attacked by the crime boss. He sees all the shit that they're doing in the city. They carve the word scum into his chest. It ultimately
turns into a fight for survival.
It does. And just like this guy who is going to fight for what he believes is right, and he's going to do whatever the hell he thinks he needs to achieve that. Like you said earlier, with you can't solve all the world's problems with a shotgun, and he's like, it's all I know. He may as well have said, well, I could fucking damn well try. And it just has fun with it. It just has as much fun as I think Eisner thinks the audience is going to have watching it.
Agreed.
But those are my thoughts. I really like this movie. I am a fan of and the story that it tells.
I think we touched on it a little bit earlier whenever I mentioned the editing and stuff, just like the way he cleverly edits things together to tell a very unique story. I love how he touches on like some subtle like subplots and then sees them the whole way throughout the story, and they're kind of silly but also serious subject matter. So the way when he deals with them, they then kind of get relieved. Anyway, you'll know when you watch the movie. But the way that the film concludes and the fact that it's set up to conclude that way. Do we spoil it? Do we spoil it, or we just let them watch the movie?
mean, I think
the movie's 11 years old.
It's 11 years old. I mean, go watch. Okay, if you're at this part in the pocket, pause.
Yes.
Go watch the movie. Come back and now finish it.
So at the end, Rutger has a face-off with all the baddies, and there's a brief period where our final girl does a really incredible monologue in front of the town folk, and she mentions it earlier in the film to Rutger that they're not bad people. That their kind of perspective is off.
They're scared.
Yeah, they're scared. So she has this monologue sequence where she kind of explains what's going on, and that gives them an ultimatum to make a choice about their own town. So ultimately at the end, when that face-off happens, yes, spoiler alert, the hobo dies, but only is matched with the return of the townsfolk shooting all the bad guys that are there shooting him at the same time, then cleaning up the town, hopefully, and ending the reign of terror.
They systematically killed their entire police force in that scene.
But it was all corrupt, and I think that was made apparent throughout the course of the story. I just love the way that Eisner wraps everything up in the last 15 minutes of the film, and there's really no loose ends, Brody.
Yeah, look, for what it is, I actually enjoyed it. It's a bit of a ridiculous premise. It's a cool throwback to like what Nick said to those 70 grindhouse films, but it's definitely something made from nothing, and I fucking appreciate that every goddamn day of the week. It's nothing new. It's very basic, but it delivers. It fucking delivers on what it needs to be and what we want to see. Just the violence I feel like the violence is necessary in this film. It's definitely a film where you wouldn't hold back. I'm not trying to nitpick it when I say the dialogue is weak, but it's there for a reason to be weak, and that's what makes it even more fucking enjoyable, and I love that. I love it. But look, Rutger's scenes in this, I actually feel like Rutger brought it all to the story, and it works quite well during the storytelling. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the story of this film. It's a very basic story that has a lot of undertones and meanings about it, and I like what the director was able to achieve with it. It's a fun film.
Absolutely. So, Nick, now I'll let you get into it. Impact and takeaways, brother. I'll let you start.
Okay. Alrighty. So, I first saw this movie 10 years ago. It was just a random pick on Netflix that I saw with a buddy because we were bored. Mm-hmm. And it had enough of an impact that 10 years later, when trying to come up with picks for this, I was just like, I fucking know a movie. I know something we could watch. Because it's just so viscerally entertaining.
Yes, in the same way that Gunman was.
Exactly. It feels very similar to Gunman in that way. In just the team came together. They got some financing. They were like, all right, we got $3 million. Let's make the best damn movie we can make, and it needs to be completely honest with itself as to what
the best damn movie we can make about a homeless man with a shotgun.
Exactly. About this weird premise that we came up with in a pizza shop. Yeah. and just go balls to the wall with it and just have fun, but still actually attempt to give somewhat of a meaningful story. Yeah. Like you said with, Molly's character Abby's monologue and everything. It tells you what it's about. But I mean, I just like that the movie was able to stay true to itself and all the way through its production and come out as good as it did. Yeah. Like in my true opinion, the worst thing a movie can ever be is boring. Yeah. You can have a cheesy schlock fest of a movie, but man, even if you play it super seriously and you just remain true to it and I laugh and enjoy it, it's a good movie in my eyes. And that's all this movie tries to do. Like it's not being Oscar bait. It's not going, hey, Rutger, we want as much as you gave Blade Runner. Like we want you to act like you are trying to give it as much as you gave Blade Runner, and we're just gonna dick around and have fun. I appreciate that they were able to do that and make this thing. And I think that anyone who's a fan and can deal with gore, give it a watch. You'll have fun with it. It's a good, enjoyable time. And I'm definitely one I'm glad that I watched again because I don't think I've seen this since I saw it first 10 years ago.
If anyone could have guessed, this was a Nick pick this week from that little dialogue we got from him there. Well said. Well done, buddy. This was a terrific choice for modern canuxploitation. Also touches on drugsploitation amongst a plethora of other ploitations. But yeah, perfect pick for the show. Definitely a first time watch for me, but I totally enjoyed it. Rutger Hauer definitely brings it home. Impact and takeaways, like you kind of said, man, just the fact that this film went from a trailer, a silly concept, to something that's actually watchable, enjoyable, and has some sort of cult following is amazing. And we're talking about it 11 years later, and we're enjoying it 11 years later. I don't think that there's anything in it that necessarily you're going to be totally, let's say, offended by, because everyone gets their comeuppance in the end. So it's like, yeah, just enjoy the crazy fucking ride that you're about to be on the moment you hit play on this film, because it is nonstop from go. And I love it. Brody, final thoughts, impacts, and takeaways.
You boys summed it up quite well. I'll take a little bit of a different route and say that the actual story behind making this trailer and for it becoming a feature film is what actually has pretty much a major impact on me. It definitely helped get my creative juices flowing after watching this. Look, I just wanted to come up with some ridiculous premise, write a script, assemble a skeleton crew and just film it in a span of fucking 4 days to see how it would turn out. And I love the whole idea of this thing being something, from nothing to something. Even just the trailer to spark a career for this director, get it off the ground and running, and just to get an A-list actor on the film like this, it just proves that if you have a decent enough script, there's always a chance you can make quality content. Especially in this day and age, you could just pick up an iPhone and start shooting anything. It really inspires filmmakers out there to actually fucking give it all they've got with their creative juices, and you got nothing to lose. Who knows? An A-lister like Rutger could be in your next indie film. So I kind of feel from that point of view that this should be shown in film schools around the world, even though it is over the top, but to an extent it definitely gets your creative juices flowing, I think. And yeah, I fucking appreciate it for what it is, like I've mentioned numerous times. And yeah, I don't know, that's inspired me. And like Nick said, I haven't seen this in for about fucking 10 years either. So for it to watch it after all these years and inspire me in that direction, yeah, I was pretty pumped. I was in the zone, in the moment.
Hell yeah, I'm glad I could bring it back to you.
It's good.
And this week's rating is vigilante homeless man armed with a shotgun out of 5. Brody, start us off.
I'm going to have to give it a 3.4.
I will give it a 3.5. Nick?
4.
And that is an LCE score of 3.6 out of 5. Vigilante homeless men armed with a shotgun out of 5. That's pretty fair
I'm happy
for
with that.
2011's Hobo with a Shotgun. Next week, we have a Brody pick, and that is Lake Mungo from 2011. Wait, is that 2011?
No,
2008, I thought.
Earlier. Yeah, 2008, potentially. But yes, all y'all motherfuckers are coming down in my neck of the woods. This was filmed only about an hour away from where I live, so you'll get to see where I grew up. And this is a fucking haunting tale. Nick will agree with me on that. You've seen this, right? Haven't you, Nick?
Yes, I have seen this.
Yeah, it's incredibly morbid. It's scary. I mean, you're in for a treat next week, boys. Yeah, so.
Fucking A. So we'll head down to a local film for Brody. Fucking A. That's that's the second time, right?
Yes. Yeah, this one's even closer to home. So,
what was the other one?
Razorback, yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
no, Mad Max. Mad Max.
That's
was
right.
filmed.
Oh, okay.
Razorback's on the other side of the country, right?
Yeah, no, Razorback's up north near Sydney. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, okay.
Russell Mulcahy.
Fucking A. Well, can't wait to talk Lake Mungo with the boys, but that's it for this week's episode of Lights Camera Exploitation. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining us. This is the Pod Boss, DJ Bowser, signing off.
This is your DKB saying it was a pleasure being here with you boys again this week, and I'll catch you motherfuckers next week.
Slick Nick signing off. Looking forward to seeing you all again next week down under.
Spread the word, you dirty cocksuckers. Tell all your grave robbing friends I want them out of the city now!
Hobo with a shotgun. The streets gave birth to a stray dog who is now fed up. Living on the streets is tough, and it's about to get tougher.
You want in on this $10? Come on!
Violence, cruelty, murder. The streets will be lonelier because this hobo's taken off. He's cashing in his nickels and dimes for a new way of life. But getting out isn't that easy.
Give me the money or I'll dice this bitch up! Ah!
This hero is going to have to deliver justice, one shell at a time.
Give me the fucking money! I will slit her goddamn throat! I'm gonna sleep in your bloody carcasses tonight!
Hobo with a shotgun. He's pissed.
Tell me the goddamn passcodes!
And he wants answers.
Which one of you are a whore? At least he's only shooting the dirty cops. You're all dirty cops! Check on this, you color-molested shit licker!
Hobo with a shotgun.
I want that hobo's head on my wall tonight, and whoever brings it to me gets all my prize!
When violence fills the streets, there will only be one law. His. David Brunt has.
We're taking a car ride to hell, and you're running shotgun!
Hobo with a shotgun. Rated R.
Oh, God.
Fair enough.
Oh my god!
It was literally the fucking fuck you, Mr. Bowser.
For what?
Nah, nothing. I've been doing that the whole fucking time.
I was
really?
about to say, yeah, I can see you doing it. I thought, like, at first you were trying to motion to say, like, my mic was still muted from drinking water or something. I was like, what are you doing?
I was like,
We have Mr. Eisner talking about winning the Grindhouse trailer competition and then turning it into a feature film. When we put the trailer online, the view count started racking up and we thought, wow, there's a lot of attention and this and there are a lot of people telling us, fuck you, Mr.
Literally on the ground right now. Literally fell out of the chair.
Yeah, I was trying to push through this paragraph so fucking quick, but I just realized there's a shit ton to go through. Not even halfway through the fucking thing yet.
I'm sorry, I fell out of my chair and kicked my fucking...
I just saw DJ go down. I was like, shit.
Sorry, Brody, keep going.
Fuck, I'll have to start again, you motherfucker.